to realize our need for God, to make time to spend alone time with Him, that we wouldn't need a priest or a preacher because God gave us a Savior, that gave us access to a Father, that when we submit to a process, not of our making, but of His, we can be initiated as men into true masculinity, that we can be led by Him so we learn how to lead, that we can be loved by Him so we learn how to love. This is Ponds and Beavers. All right, guys, thanks for listening, taking the time. I'm really excited about this next podcast. It's called At the Table. So we'll start with this. Who doesn't want a second chance? The problem is we usually don't stop at a second chance. And for some of us in our experience through the journey of life, we don't get past the 20th plus chance before others start giving up on us, right? Before we start giving up on ourselves. They throw in the towel of believing we'll ever change or ever be better or different. Some of us face that in middle school or a teenager, teachers giving up on us, or coaches, even at times our parents, right? We just don't do well with second chances. It's usually after the second or third or fourth. So it's funny to me that, the saying is a second chance when really, if we could average out what our quote unquote second chance actually looks like, it's more like a 10th chance or, maybe more for some of us. But basically what we're talking about here, though, is that's how we are with each other. That's how we are with ourselves. But that's not how God is with us. We all want redemption, right? We all want the redemption story that follows. We want it. Why? Because we need it. No matter the extravagant attempts at denial, right, trying to fool ourselves and others, we know the truth that we are hopeless, right? But along with how hopeless we know we are, it's too much to bear. So we just run. We run from everything. Each other, God, anything that threatens our denial tactics, our fooling ourselves in the world. We become the very imposters we swore we'd never become. And unless we admit this is true, admit we need saving, need redemption, we will always be hopeless. No matter what kind of positive thinking we force, almost like a kid closing their eyes thinking that no one can see them because their eyes are closed. We've got to get to the end of ourselves and all of our futile attempts at saving ourselves before finally admitting that we are and always will be hopeless. And that's a good thing. It may not sound like a good thing. It may sound like the worst message ever, but it's true nonetheless that we are hopeless. That's the most healthy perspective we could ever have as a man. You know why? Aside from the fact that it's true, it's what we need, that it leads us to. That's why it's so important. Because once we accept that truth, it leads us to confessing and accepting that we need to be saved. We need to be redeemed, and we need that redemptive story that we long for. And this is where a man's journey into initiation begins. It starts with God. To find that our hope has never been in us at all, but in the one who created us. Man, that has got to be one of the most comforting things we could discover in this life. Discovering that God has always been and always will be our redemption, and giving us our redemptive story. There's something really special about having a meal prepared, right? It's not to say that there can't be special things from us cooking, preparing our own meals. A lot of people actually find pleasure in this. There's times where if I'm in the right mood, I would rather just go and cook some steaks and take my time, and it's sort of an art, and it's enjoyable. But there is something really special about having a meal prepared. When another person prepares that meal, and it's someone else's art, it's someone else's work and effort, and you can just show up and enjoy it, right? And so there's something to be said about what do people do when we want to go celebrate, right? A birthday or an anniversary, or what do we want to do when we want to spend quality time with our wife or a girlfriend? What do we do? Well, we usually end up at a restaurant. No matter what else you do, you usually end up at some decently nice restaurant. You don't really usually go to a McDonald's, right? You go to somewhere nicer, maybe out of the ordinary. And so basically what I'm saying is, it's not us reaching for the pans and seasoning. It's us going somewhere and having a meal prepared for us, wanting someone else to prepare that meal, set the table, offer an atmosphere, right? An atmosphere that's conducive to the romanticism of giving one to another your undivided attention. So here's the amazing thing is, God awaits with such a thing. And within the tiny reach of us simply and humbly receiving it, our Creator awaits at a table, which lies upon it a feast, unmatched and without equal. A feast that surpasses culinary, a feast that both represents and really is the manifestation of the truest and purest way we were created to live. A feast of relationship and the unique pleasure that can only come from enjoying the company and being with our Heavenly Father as He is with us. There's no longer, petty sin or what we've done wrong or how we've just failed time and time again. This isn't about giving our hopeless state another thought and wasted attention. No, when we show up to that table that God has prepared, that feast, it's about one thing: God and us enjoying each other's company. He doesn't get hung up on the condition that we show up like. We may show up with torn and ratty clothing, just the biggest failure ever. We may show up with the shame and the guilt of knowing how much we have failed or how much we fall short of the man that we know we can be. See, that doesn't hang God up. It doesn't have Him lock the doors so we can't get in to the home that or the place that He's prepared that table. See, it doesn't work that way. In fact, it's the opposite. He longs for those moments He can share with us where we show up and it excites Him to see us sit down. Even if it's sitting down in our own guilt and shame or our own failures and sin and pride, and you just fill in the blank. All the messiness, no matter how ugly we may look or the things that we've done are, He's excited to just see us, to spend time with us. And I guarantee you, by the end of that time spent with God, sitting at that table with Him, feasting, by the end of that evening or morning, whatever that looks like for us, we've changed. We look down and our clothing is brand new. Our skin is clean. There's no dirt smudges on our face. Right? We've been washed. We're clean and that good feeling you get after you've taken a shower and you just feel so good, almost inside and out, right? That's the feast that God has for us. We're full and content. After you sit back eating your favorite meal, whatever that is, barbecue, sushi, fried chicken, doesn't matter, whatever your favorite thing is, pizza, and you just sit back and you're just completely and utterly content because you've feasted. Man, that's what God has for us every day. A table prepared for us every day. Every day we can take our rightful seat at our Father's table. And all it takes is us showing up, not cleaning up. See, that's how we treat each other. We say, hey, if you're going to talk to me, you better clean your up. No, that's the messed up way that leaves us broken and limping around, treating each other like crap. That's not God with us. God says, just show up, son. Just show up. You don't need to clean yourself up before you come here and sit down. Just show up. I'll get you some new clothes. I'll clean you off. I'll give you this immaculate walk-in shower where you can just rinse off. All right, so there's no excuses here, none. We will always be the reason of our lack of relationship with God. We will always be the reason that there's distance between us and God, that we don't know God that well compared to maybe some other people. Then we're like, man, I wish I knew God as well as this person over here. He's already called every single one of us, invited every single one of us to eat at this table. And the choice is ours whether we show up. And this is every day. This isn't once a week like going to church. This ain't church. This is as real and as raw as it gets right here. Doesn't matter the ragged clothing. It doesn't matter how we feel that day. If we feel adequate, if we feel worthy, well, man, you'll never feel worthy. I never feel really worthy, if I'm being honest. Even on my best day, I don't sit there and say, man, I feel worthy right now of this incredible feast that God has for me. No, when I spend time with God and He gives me words, He encourages me, gives me truth to really eat and chew on and meditate on, man, I don't ever feel like I deserve it, right? All those ugly and unkept dark corners of our thoughts and our hearts can cripple us into believing that we don't deserve it and that should stop us from showing up. No, it can't stop us from showing up, because all it's doing is robbing us of a sonship with our Father that is our birthright. And we give up our birthright every time. Every time we put something ahead of spending time with God. Every time we prioritize something over spending time with God. And all the while, the stupid thing is, all the while, we're saying no to this amazing feast that He's prepared every time. Every time. It doesn't matter the person you come in as. It only matters that you come at all, to show up. Right? And that's where we find our hope. That's when we have hope again. Remember, I started this whole thing off with how hopeless we are and how that's a big pill to swallow. That's a bitter thing to chew, right? That we're hopeless. Oh man, I don't want to hear that. Man, here's the thing. It's not until we actually swallow that pill that we actually man up and face that. Until we can ironically find hope. Because God is where we find our hope. It's not within ourselves. Good luck trying to conjure up the faith it's going to take to follow Him. It's not how it works. God gives us the faith. He gives us everything we need to do what we need to do, to be who we need to be. And just like that meal that's prepared, it's fresh. It's not leftovers. Man, we give each other leftovers. That's how we treat one another. God does not give leftovers. He gives a fresh, hot, some of the best savory, culinary perfection we've ever tasted. Taste and see. Come on. I mean, He's laid it all out. No excuse.
Take me away like a ship out to the open sea, where it's just you and me. 'Cause I've had enough of all this chaos. All I need is to see your face. So take me out of these plans I've placed my hope in, as if they're the ones who have ever saved me. You've been here all along, waiting right there where I left you. So here I come, as fast as I can fall on my knees. 'Cause I'm not strong at all like I think. You always will be what I need. Take my thoughts like the wind, quiet out some space where your voice can be. 'Cause I've had enough of every fear that tries to cripple me, and your voice is free. So take me out of these plans I've placed on my hope in, as if they're the ones who have ever saved me. You've been here all along, waiting right there where I left you. So here I come, as fast as I can fall to my knees. 'Cause I'm not strong at all like I think. You always will be what I need. So take me out of these plans that I've placed all my hope in, as if they're the ones who have ever saved me. You've been here all along, waiting right here. You never leave. So here I am, as fast as I can fall to my knees. 'Cause you deserve it all, my King. You are